Hey y'all, the funk is in trouble. There is trouble with the funk. Sir Knowles is at it again. And let me tell you, these are my avatar glasses. I'm going to start wearing these joints around. Today would be a good day. It is blistering out. So this is the problem, y'all. And it's public knowledge, so I don't feel bad about exposing this, but it's a very sensitive issue. George, the Funkadelic, is in trouble, and there's 2 or 3 topics that I want to discuss regarding this. One is artist rights, and so I want to address the record companies. I want to address also too. I want to address other people, other artists, current artists, and I want to address myself I want to address George Clinton as an artist, and I want to address myself as addressing George Clinton as an artist. Okay, so first thing, there's a huge problem with artist rights. This is a sham. George Clinton has no rights to his intellectual property. Either he signed it off or got manipulated out of it, or was foolish with it, or bad management, uneducated about it, or what have you. But the fact is he did all that rights, all that work, and he doesn't own any of it. You got to understand, there is the funk, there is James Brown, and then George Clinton. Now, Michael Jackson is a different branch, but there's James Brown and George Clinton and Bootsy and all of that clan, and you got to see that on my page, I got a jam where I'm dancing, and most of my stuff is George, Bootsy, and the funk, and they raised me. They were the ones that influenced me, and I wouldn't be able to dance the way I dance if it wasn't for the funk. I was like 15 years old, and I was like, what is that sound? How did they do that? It's like stuff, you would hear stuff in there, things that was like, that can't be human. I mean, that had to be from outer space. I mean, Star Child. And so he owns. All right, so we know that there's a huge problem. There's always been the huge problem because they came from a time when artists were only beginning to manage their own work and things like that. And I thought George was really better than most people at it. But you got to understand that these guys, they were drugs, they drugged up, and so they make mistakes. But these guys, and so he may have gotten a situation and signed away his rights. I heard that his signature was on this stuff. But still, there needs to be some type of protection, some kind of default that an artist cannot just completely die broke and his money is making big dollars for other people. It should not be that way. There should be some kind of order of protection or something, some artist right that he has a minimal amount of rights. Right now, they say that he is struggling to be able to pay for his mom's funeral. And folks, there is certain things in life. I'm telling you, the reason why I pay my dad rent is because of the expenses and things that he incurred. I mean, because his apartment, I would have been gone if it was anybody else. That would have been my name, been gone. It would Ben. You just call me Ben. Oh, where he been? But because it's my father and the expenses that their family incurred, because, I don't want to go too much in my family business, but we always thought Dad was going to go first. He said that he always thought that she was going to go first. So she, they never took an insurance policy out on her. you know. And I hate to give, fodder for the insurance commercials and stuff like that, but, that's a reality. And this is what we're talking about, these reality situations. So the thing about it is that, the man who built the television died broke. There are so, now I want to get, so that's a bad situation. I saw a movie a long time ago about, it was kind of Christian based movie, and it was about a man who was it wasn't the prodigal son, and it was just a man. And you got to remember, people in my family like to equate me to the prodigal son because I left and came back here. Not the case. I left the first time I came back. I came with money trying to buy a house, so they wouldn't sell me one. That's because I have wonderful family members that love me that much. So the whole thing about it is that I lost my phone until I get a phone, and it's snowing and I can't get out. But anyway, I'm trying to keep on point. This is going to be a little long, but so this is the thing. In that situation, this man went out and had his riches. He was probably, I don't know if he was a doctor at the time, but he went and fell in love with a woman and did everything for her. He just had to have her. He was completely addicted to her, and she was a user and abuser, and she played men, and eventually she got a disease and stuff like that. She broke him. She even took the deeds to the lot for his mom's and for his parents' funeral ground. She took it. Eventually, she got a venereal disease. He went and got himself together and became a doctor. And she came back to him, and she was so messed up. Her body was so messed up because of this disease. He didn't want to touch her. So it's just really. I just wanted to tell that story because I wanted to lead to another story, which would. So kind of relating to him is Esau in the Bible. Esau sold his birthrights for some soup. Just read that story. Esau sold his birthrights, and so when we deal with this these properties, they could be addicted to drugs. They could be in different situations where they don't have control over their life. And it can happen. It doesn't have to be regular drugs. It could be, it could be medical addiction to drugs. So, which we, it happens, but we try to, the ideal behind this is never to let a small pill, you're greater than a small pill. You're greater than a piece of dust or a joint or a drink. You're a human being. There's more power in you than you can than some little, that's like saying, oh, this has control over me. Nothing should have control over you. Paper, nothing. You're human. You're alive. Anyway. So I told those two stories, Esau and a man who lost his birthrights to his mother's funeral. So with that said, I want to go on to the next one. Everybody who sampled his music, everybody should be pulling. I never mentioned his name before. Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, all of those guys who made a living off a sample, and George Clinton allowed everybody to sample his stuff freely. And he was like, I just want people to spread the funk, spread the funk, get the groove on, George Clinton is a Hall of Famer. A Hall of Famer. American icon. Hall of Fame. This is not the average Joe. His stuff is good. I was listening to his stuff, 40 years ago? This stuff is still good for, even if music goes bad, you could always fall back on George Clinton's music, It's just like, it can't be. I would personally will donate to the George Clinton Fund for this. I know he's giving a concert, I think it might be Vegas on the 31st, But even the concert here, that I enjoyed greatly in Buffalo, that he was over the last summer here. I had a blast. It was free. Didn't cost me a dime. And the man can't pay for this. His the kind of burial that his mom deserves. I don't know what all of those folks are doing. I'm sure there's probably all kind of bad blood and all that other stuff between them. But they need to get together and help out with this situation. I'm not trying to tell. I was also donate something. I'm still waiting on my check. It's snowing. I might not get it today. But when I get it, I haven't been able to replace my phone yet. But I will definitely send some money if it's a PayPal account. So so with that said, I want to say one more thing, and I want to address. So I address the record. The record companies, no way should he not have. I don't care what it needs to be. An undeniable bottom line, needs and necessity. If you ever get in trouble, clause that you can't be absolutely broke. In any contract with intellectual property, it should always be 10% left to the artist. I don't care who you sell it to. They should always get a royalty, and also the whole of Snoop Dogg, everybody, he's supposed to be the dog, right? Everybody who sampled his music, and George Clinton, I don't care who you are, Beyonce, whatever, you love Bootsy or anybody, I always be talking Beyonce, but anybody should always give George, they should chip in and get this for his funeral private fund. And I'm sorry, he ain't asked for a dime. I'm saying it, so anyway. And so the last thing I want to say about that, and I said something about George Clinton, read Esau, and so last thing I want to say about that, George, this is a personal beef. When you were here this summer, I'm the guy that was outside of your bus, and I don't know how they all that broke, because he had a big bus tour. But anyway, I'm sure they have plenty of expenses. But I was out there and I told you, George, I said, I sent the girl in and she asked you, and I said, I want to do a game, and I'm studying that stuff. I guess I could let that cat out of the bag. I'm also studying for game technology and stuff like that. Nothing new. But George has a wealth of information. I told him all I need is just license rights. If you just give me the rights to use the stuff, to be able to, I would wouldn't cost you nothing. I would have generated this stuff, and I believed in my product or the product, that I would create so much that I wouldn't even charge you. All I needed was rights to use some of your imagery. This man is sitting on a mental gold mine of just concepts and ideals. I mean, there's no way he should be broke. I mean, they could, and what he told me, he sent somebody out saying, oh, Microsoft about to offer them the deal. Now, that hurt. Okay, now I can't say nothing about it, because probably, maybe they waiting on a deal, but, I could have just prototyped some of the ideas for you. That's all I wanted. Just to start building that stuff so that if I start to do it, then at least something like that. But, as crooked as this business is, they would have probably tried to rip me off too, which they've done many times. They're probably trying to figure out a way to do. What did he just say? Who is that? What is it? George Clinton has so many ideas with their Star Trek. George Clinton is, when you talk about the funk, he's Uncle Funk. James Brown is the Godfather. He's the uncle. He's the uncle. Uncle Jam. It's ridiculous. So there's one for you. I would have sit there and just, made those characters 3D. I offered him, and oh man, he just said, oh man, he just shot me with the butt gun, man. I was so hurt. I was like, I was trying to get my big cat eyes, puppy dog. Anyway, my point is that so that's I wanted to say that to him personally, is that I was like, I was loving this stuff. I would still build one, just for the fun, for myself, as my computer. I'll build one if I want to. I'm not going to distribute it or try to make any money off of it. I'll send it to you if you want it, for free, maybe they'll give you the ideal, Matter of fact, that's what I will do. If you send me some, I've been trying to get in contact with them through the Funk store, but it's just a virtual gold mine of concepts for games, and I'm studying that stuff now. I'm about to head into what I call my master's program for production. 2010 coming up, so I'm gonna go off on that. Anyway, I don't want to run this too long, but you should have listened to me. I shouldn't say that. That's wrong. But anyway, I would still do it. So if I could contribute some artwork, I'd be glad to do that. Do one of the characters, maybe a Sir Knowles or a Star Trek. But this year, I want to do. My resolution is I want to do like just nothing but characters, just lots of characters. I've been studying this stuff, and I'm getting there, and it's crazy. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. And every 6 months, you have to relearn everything. Relearn it. That's what it is. So people are stuck on this stuff. It's too bad. You get stuck on software and stuff like that. You'll be behind the times. That's where you're going. I'm going to the future. Praise God, Lord willing. God bless you. I hope this thing works out. I've been running my mouth. Bye bye.